And hello everyone, welcome back to another C++ tutorial. So in this tutorial we'll be talking about the size of function. So let me first give you an example of what you can do with the size of. So let's create a C out here, and we can just say char is equal to, and here we can just print out the size of and char. Now, if I were to print this out by saying cpile, remember this is my custom compiling that I use. You will have to still use G++ or whatever you use. Anyhow, so then we get char is equal to 1. Char is basically 1 byte. It's 1 letter. It is very small. That is why it is 1. It's basically telling you the size of a character. So if you have a character data type, how much RAM will it take? And you'll see it only takes like 1. Then we also have int, and I'm just going to remove this part here because I'm not going to replace that 2 times. Now with int is a little bit bigger. It can take 4 because it's a bit bigger, so it needs to store more things inside of it. So it needs about 4 bytes. You can also do things like a long, which I do believe we have talked about, but if we haven't, it's basically a way to, say, store something bigger than an integer / float. And as you can see, it's basically double the size of an integer. It's 8. So an integer will use half the amount of RAM than a long would, but a long can store double the amount of data than what an integer can store. Cool. Then you have things like string. Now this should be std string. There we go. And this would be 32. It's pretty big because a string should be able to contain a lot of data inside of it without having to worry about running out of data. Then you have booleans, so bool. And a boolean would be like 1. Yes, because it's basically true or false. So it's 1 or 0. It's A or B. You know, it's very, very basic. So if it ever needs more than 1, then something's up. And then, of course, we have a float. And there we go. We have a float. That's the same size as an integer. Now, why did I teach you about this? Well, this will mostly become useful when we work with arrays. And in the next few videos, we're going to start diving into arrays, and it's good to know what the size of does because it can help you a lot with some of your problems. And in this case, it gives you the size of something. So I believe you can actually even throw something like an actual number in there, and that should still give you the size of. Yes, because this is just an integer, so it will give you the size of. If you were to do something like that, would it give you that other 34 number? It gives 7. Because this right here, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and I believe it's like a \0 at the end, which means like it's the end of the string. But basically, this right here, this is a total of 7 bytes. 6 letters and 1 like character to say, hey, this is the end of the string. Now we haven't worked with arrays yet, but I do want to show you this. So I'm going to just go here and say int x 5, and I'm going to say the size of x. If you run this, we need to add a semicolon there. I've been writing too much Python. There we go, 20. Now what does this mean? Basically this means 5 integers. So 5 integer data types or values. And I'm not going to dive into this because this is an array. But basically this will come very handy because as you can see, 5 integers will take about 20 bytes. And how can we verify this? Well, 4 times 5 is 20. And that gives 20 bytes. So if you have 5 integers and every integer is 4 bytes, then yeah. Anyhow, in the next video we'll talk about arrays. So stay tuned for that. And thank you for watching. I hope you all enjoyed. And I will see you all again in the next C++ tutorial.